In today's video, we're going to be reacting to the latest strange and more questionable clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. This guy right here was trapped inside his own mind for 12 years, but heard and felt everything going on around him. Martin Pistorius fell into a coma at just 12 years old. The doctors and scientists around him said that he was brain dead. They physically declared it. But the thing is, he definitely wasn't. For 12 years, he was in this state, fully conscious and hearing everything his friends and family would say coming into the room to visit him. Hearing things such as his family saying, "I don't think he's ever going to wake up," and even his own mother saying, "I hope he dies." However, one day a nurse noticed that he started to blink and thought something strange was going on. And after 12 years, he slowly started to recover, to the point where now he is actually a speaker who talks about his experiences. But this is more common than you might think, similar to locked-in syndrome, and there's other things that occur when you're in comas. With a lot of people reportedly being awake when they're in a coma, but everybody thinks they're asleep. Time feeling extremely long, dragging on. You are just stuck in your own mind. Everybody talking, but you can't respond because you are just completely stuck.
That truly would be a horrible experience. I've had people in my past videos say that they've been in a coma and it felt like they just blinked. And then there's been some people that said when they were in a coma, it felt like time just went on and on and on. Luckily for this guy, he at least had a good ending. But being stuck in your mind for so long, not being able to do anything, not being able to say anything, pure misery. I bet this guy's patience is on a whole nother level.
Nobody can rightfully say whether this is real or AI generated anymore. It's a video of these shapeshifters changing and shifting on stage like for a performance, passing it off as some sort of illusionist performance, but there's actually something a lot darker happening here. Allegedly filmed in the 90s, hence the video quality, and before AI generated videos were a thing. But obviously AI can intentionally generate videos to look blurry, grainy, and like they were filmed in the 90s. We genuinely don't know what's real and what's AI generated anymore, and this is sparking some huge debates online. People saying these shapeshifters were performing some sort of ritual for the elites, and others that it's definitely 100% AI. Grok AI on X couldn't seem to make up its mind, telling us it's authentic 90s footage one moment and oh, never mind, it's actually AI generated the next. So I took matters into my own hands and popped this video into an online AI video detector, which told us it's 99.85% not AI generated. So it's real. And then it told us it's 99.83% AI generated when I ran it again. It also doesn't seem to be able to make up its mind. This is actually very concerning. If AI video detectors can no longer tell us what's real and what's AI generated, we can't prove anything anymore. AI videos are going to be thought to be real, and real videos are going to be thought to be AI. Nothing is real anymore. You can take a video of the most incredible, mind-blowing thing you've ever seen, and no one will ever believe you.
Obviously, those are AI generated videos, but it is getting to the point where it is hard to tell what's real from AI. When you have videos that are not blown out of proportion like this video was, it does become more difficult to tell. And I am really curious in the future on how that's going to be handled, because at the rate it's going, AI is just getting better and better at making things look more and more realistic.
Why are so many people uploading proof that they are seeing lepidodendron trees in real life? So if you didn't know, the lepidodendron or the scale tree is a prehistoric tree. It went extinct a long time ago, but more and more people are starting to see these trees. And if you see these trees in real life, that means that you have went through a time slip. And so many people are uploading photos and videos of these trees in their timeline, which really makes you wonder, especially with everything going on in the world right now, is our timeline like falling apart or something? Because why are so many people seeing these scale trees? And that's exactly what this is. They kind of look like palm trees, but they have like pine cones on them. And the bark of them look like scales. That's why people call them scale trees. Have you seen a tree like this before? And is this a sign of our timeline falling apart? Let me know what you think about this.
Here in South Carolina, I see trees like that all of the time. Right now, they're doing a lot of deforestation, and they leave a lot of pine trees up that resemble that greatly. But let me know what you guys think about this theory. It's an interesting one, but I cannot say that I've seen one of those trees specifically, just trees that kind of resembled it. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And for everyone that's watching and or subscribed, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
We have a story developing in real time. This comes from a man named James. About a month ago in October, early October, he was concerned when he saw something shoot down from the sky and land near him. And he was able to retrieve the object. And it's like this cylinder, all metal thing. Over the course of a month, he records on YouTube his daily interactions with it, how he feels, how it makes him feel. He thinks it's radioactive. It makes him feel nauseous and sick. And then finally, up to November 14th, 2025, he finally decides to open it. And what happens during his live stream has left thousands wondering if he is okay. And it looks like he may have had some sort of electrocution from it. Take a look at these next two videos. We are waiting to see if he posts again or if there's any information coming forth about this whole situation. More to come.
It's really reflective, so I'm going to try not to reveal myself in the reflection when I show you all the markings. So here's this side. And I'm still not touching it with my hand because I think it is dangerous or radioactive or something. It's really smooth. Here's that hexagram. Which, yeah, I agree it doesn't look that good, but I can tell you I didn't make it. Like a triangle in the middle with two lines. And it's essentially the same on this side, but the markings are slightly different, like the words on the side. Let me find that other... No, there it is. Okay, guys. I guess that marks the day I posted on YouTube the full object, so now I'm gonna keep trying to post like every day so I don't disappear, but we all know how these things go, so just wish for the best for me, and I'll try to do some experiments with this and record it. I'll probably try to open it at some point, but I don't know how to do that right now. I also don't want to die if it's radioactive and blows up or something, but anyway, yeah, this is the spinning around. So you can see it's like just the common pill shape of an object. Alright guys, it's showtime. Gonna take this drill. We're gonna see what we can do here. Make sure the bit's tight. Everything ready? I didn't find gloves, which is okay, but anyway, I'm just gonna not use gloves. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Gonna hold this in my hand. What is happening? Yes, I'm so nervous about this, guys, but anyway. Yeah, can I open this? Wow, is this a bad idea? It does have power. It's in Milwaukee. Let's look, it's full. Anyway, I guess we'll begin. I'm gonna go right in a hole there. Is this a good idea, guys? So over here, everybody says do it, say don't do it. Sponsor, there is no sponsor. I hope somebody will at least save this in case I die. It's just making me feel bad already, but anyway. We'll start on one. but we can't put in one. I guess we'll start at 2. What is that? No, I'm sorry.
I have seen these videos floating around TikTok now for the past couple of days. If this is a real video, it's a very, very interesting video as to what that could be, what was that he's seen, and what happened. It almost seemed like he had a seizure at the end. And apparently he was doing this all live, which does not mean that it's real. You can definitely fake a live, but it's very elaborate if it's a hoax. I'll definitely stay up to date on this because I'm curious now just to see where this goes and what he has to say next. We may have stumbled upon something really fascinating or something that we should not have. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
I cannot get over how cool this picture is. Called the Fall of Icarus, this is a real skydiver on Earth, but positioned in such a way that it looks like a lone astronaut falling through the void. The skydiver jumped out of a small plane at around 3,500 feet and 8,000 feet from the photographer. From a mathematical standpoint, this is an easy problem to solve on paper. It's basically just a triangle where you know the photographer's position, the sun, and the angle, so you can pinpoint the exact altitude the skydiver needs to be. But it's such a difficult shot to do for real because the photographer and the sun are in a fixed spot, but something is falling very fast between them. So the pilot has to drop him in just the right location, and the photographer has to time it literally to the second, which is based on how fast he covers a certain distance. So if you pay attention in geometry class, you get this. And to get this texture, the photographer used a special filter that blocks all but a very specific red wavelength. So it looks all dramatic like. It took them 6 weeks to plan, and yet it was the first and only jump that day.
That's just genuinely a really cool photo. Props to these guys. Definitely a one-of-a-kind photo.
Okay, so what actually happens when you die? There is so many different theories, some of which are terrifying. So let's go through them. Theory number 1 is reincarnation. This is the belief that when you die, you are then reborn as a new person with no memories of your life before. People believe that the human body is no more than a shell and their soul moves on to a different life, which then moves us on to the eternal loop. And by the way, if you like these weird, creepy, or even sometimes spooky stories, make sure you're following if you aren't already. And if you are following, hit the like and repost and show the page some love. Anyway, the eternal loop. Now, this theory suggests that when you die, you then wake up in the exact same body, same life, same everything. You just then go on repeating life all over again without actually remembering that you've done it before. Or maybe you believe in the nothingness theory, also known as true death. There is no travelling into the light. In fact, there's nothing. And you aren't even aware of that because you're gone. And past that point, there is nothing. There is no life flashing before your eyes, unlike the last theory, which is the dream theory. The dream theory suggests that when a person dies, they then relive out their life in a flashback, but like in a slow motion movie, not even realising that they've died. Do you want to see some more of these theories? Because there is loads.
As a kid, I used to believe that when you died that you just restarted your life over again. The world continued until the time of the world ended, and then it just restart, and then you live your experience all over again. I truly believed that when I was a kid. And when it comes to reincarnation, there is a lot of people out there, especially children, that have these memories that are not theirs, down to a T where they can describe things that happened historically. There has to be something to to that. Now, I really like the idea that there is something that happens when you pass away. What that something is, I'm not sure, but I do have a theory about it. And trust me, I know a lot of people get really aggravated because, there's a heaven, there's a hell, there's already a place set in stone in a book that tells you about this. But I still can theorize. And one of my theories when it comes to the afterlife is it's a place that you go where your consciousness is from. That voice that's in your head that talks to you, that gives you ideas, that can help guide you, sometimes even mislead you. That's where you go whenever your time has come. Where that is, I have no clue. Until we discover where consciousness comes from exactly, it's an interesting idea that there would be a place that we can go to when our physical bodies pass to that conscious state. So when your physical body fails and is no longer tethered to that consciousness, and then you become pure consciousness. But let me know what you guys think about this theory. If you have a theory of your own, and please don't get too offended about me speaking about this because it insinuates that I do not believe in God or heaven or hell, because that's definitely not the case. I truly do not know. So I find interest in theorizing about this kind of stuff.
The UK government is set to narrow the width of their roads across the country for the safety of cyclists. Now, Mail on Sunday report that according to official guidance quietly published last week, the standard 12-foot width of a road in Britain should shrink to 10 foot 8 inches so that cars don't have enough space to try and overtake cyclists, therefore causing fewer accidents. They say this should also allow for cyclists to ride more centrally in the road. However, in some cases, they also say that it could be expanded to at least 12 foot 10 inches, giving more room to overtake. For perspective, 12 foot has been the standard width of road in Britain for nearly 150 years. Now, Mail on Sunday say that the guidance will be applied to billions of pounds of future road building schemes, and local authorities which defy the recommendations could see reduced transport funding. The Standard report that ATE guidance is not legally binding, however, councils are expected to follow it. So the question is this a good idea or not?
Truly sounds like it could cause more accidents than fix. I'm not sure how cyclists are in the UK, but here in America, they can be pretty aggressive and almost act as if someone in a vehicle does not exist. Luckily, here in the South, you really don't have to deal with it too much unless you're in the major cities like Charleston. And I've seen my fair share of cyclists, and some of the roads here could not handle becoming more narrow. There's roads here that are already narrow enough as is. Well, for my people out in the UK, let me know what you guys think about this one.
Here's a picture of Mars. By the way, this is not a professional tape. As you can see, these pictures are, and I've just got my camcorder out, and Wendell and I are flipping through the pictures, so this is not a produced tape for you to look at, so it'll probably never be on the market, but at least you get a chance to see some of these pictures. This is Mars just from a different direction with the sun very bright on it. Now, here is Mars, but here's one of these satellites. It's in orbit around Mars, made on Earth, unannounced, and is in orbit. This is the spring of 1976, and this device is in orbit around Mars. I don't know exactly who made it or who put it up there. Here's another one. This is Mars again, and here's the light panels, solar panels, and the satellite equipment in orbit around Mars again. This is a different one. This is a dust storm on Mars. Billy wanted to get close and try to take pictures of artifacts. You've all heard about some of the Sidonoplasma on Mars, about the face on Mars that Richard Hoagland and other people have been looking into. Billy published a paper back in the 70s talking about that. There was a race of people lived on Mars. They had a terrible catastrophe about 186,000 years back. At the time, there was about 40 million people killed on Mars, and they're all gone now, of course. So there were societies there, and we will find quite a few remains of their civilization once we get up there. Here he's on board one of their large motherships. This is the side or the edge of a saucer that was parked inside as he was walking by it. Here's Jupiter. Here's the mothership in orbit. They're flying into it to go aboard. It was 17 miles high and about 10 miles in diameter. He spent 3 days on it. They went to different places in our galaxy to show him around. This was the craft that was right in front of him as they were flying into it. He took a picture of that one. Here, again, is back at Mars. These aren't in any particular order. Here's another object in orbit around Mars. And look, here's an American flag on it. So there's a couple of things that they put up there that the military's put up that we don't know about. This is a picture of Billy in a suit He's on a prehistoric planet to see the dinosaurs. He's got a breathing apparatus on. This is a Pleiadian man, and they've stepped outside of the ship so he can see the animal life on this prehistoric world. Got his picture taken too. That's pretty good. This jumps back here to, remember the Apollo-Soyuz hookup, us and the Russians back in '76? Billy asked him if he could go up and watch it. They said, okay. They took him up. There's several pictures here of the Apollo-Soyuz hooking up with Earth in the background. Some of the wildest pictures he's got. I mean, just look at the vantage point. The planet's in the background. How else would you get this picture unless you were up there at that particular vantage point? Not a lot of people have that in their photo albums, you know. You can imagine the people at NASA would crack up, you know. They'd probably find it a little hard to believe at first, but they don't have pictures like this. Here it is when it's just hooked up. There's Earth in the background, and here's the two capsules coming together. This is the top of the mothership. There's windows, but there was nobody in the windows as they came into it. We really missed out here. Billy shot, he said, 3 or 4 rolls of film inside the mothership, talking to people and going up and down the halls and so forth. He lost all of the pictures. They were all stolen from him. We've only got 2 or 3 of them left, and they're really practically nothing. This is a prehistoric Earth. They're back in time. That's Earth in the background. That's a moon in front of Earth, and he's looking over the surface of another moon. At that point, they told him there were 2 moons in orbit around planet Earth. We think we're about 60 million years back. Here's another picture over the surface. Neither one of those moons is currently the moon that's in orbit now. The moon that's in our orbit now, they say, has only been there around 5 million years. Look at this one. This is another piece of equipment in orbit around Mars, and it's huge. It's like a space station. And it's in orbit around the planet. It's also from Earth. We haven't heard anything about that, have we? Here's the dinosaur pictures. Billy's back inside the ship, and there's a viewing screen in the craft, and he says he's taking these pictures. Here's our first dino. He's got kind of gold-brown skin, got large hind legs, short forelegs, and a head that looks kind of amphibian, like a vegetarian type. Here's the second one. There's a bird here apparently dropping some food or something. Is that Charles? Charles dropped his food. This one's pretty hard to see. Here's the head of some sort of creature crashing through some bushes here. It's hard to tell. I know it's probably hard to see these anyway from back there, but just the idea that someone could actually go back in time just really gets my brain going. There's a bird. There's his eyes, some pretty nasty looking teeth. And the last picture after this one is the strangest of all. It's a plant that has an insect head. Billy calls it a plantum. They were trying to explain to him how the evolution of different life forms goes. How, for instance, here's a plant life when the plants are the food kingdom of the world. When the plants evolve to a certain level of evolution, then these lower order forms, here's a small head, and this head is part of that plant. There's these 2 little eyes. It's an insect, the beginning of insect life on the planet when the food kingdom has evolved high enough. There are 7 different stages, they say, of spiritual energies or creational energies on a planet that create the many different kinds of life forms. There's a transition from one kind to the next. Ours is the 7th or the last one. We have to wait until the animal kingdom has raised the evolution of the body material high enough.
Man, I have not seen this video in a very, very long time. This used to be a YouTube classic when it came to conspiracy videos like 10 plus years ago. And of course the video is even older than that. Looking back on it, those pictures seem a little suspicious, but the stories around them and the concepts really fascinating. I would really, really like to see those photos in person, because seeing them on old video just does not do them justice. Seeing them in person probably would at least help clarify whether it's a real photo or not. I believe this person's name is Billy Mearis. It was pretty fun seeing this old video again. Let me know if you're familiar with any of this content.
We move one step closer to Cyberpunk 2077 as scientists have created a mind-captioning AI that decodes brain activity to turn thoughts into text. It is a non-invasive imaging technique that will scan the brain and turn what you're thinking about about into a sentence describing what you are picturing in your mind's eye. They're not the first team to be working on this. You might remember a story I did a little while ago about neuroscientists developing a brain decoder that turns thoughts into text. What that was translating your inner voice, because whether you know it or not, even when you're thinking words and not speaking them, you're sending tiny little electrical signals down here to your throat, and it can kind of sense those and turn what your inner monologue is talking about into text. What this one does, however, is it knows what you are looking at, what kind of image you're seeing, what kind of pictures, what kind of scene is playing out in your mind, and it will then output that into text. And it's fascinating because it uses a mask language modeling to constrain the search space during optimization. So basically, by directly optimizing word sentences to match brain decoded features, our method minimizes dependence on external resources such as caption databases or nonlinear captioning models, thereby ensuring the generation of descriptions are more closely aligned. And as an example, there is a part where they show a person jumping off of a cliff into water, and then it starts translating that into above rapid falling waterfall, and it continued and became a person jumps over a deep waterfall on a mountain ridge, which, while imperfect, is still shockingly close, because all that's happening is your brain data from, these images here are being fed into an LLM, and it's trying to determine what this brain picture most corresponds to for most people's sort of mental imaging, and it can generate text from that, which is frightening. It's mind reading.
So what are they using to non-invasively capture your thoughts? Do they have some kind of recording equipment that watches your eyes? Do they put you in some kind of helmet that reads your brain data? That does kind of remind me of Cyberpunk. There's a thing in Cyberpunk called brain dancing. Basically, you go into someone's mind and relive their memories. But again, I really want to know what they're using to monitor what you're thinking. Because what if in 10 years from now, you're thinking about something illegal, and the next thing you know, you have thought police busting down your door arresting you for just thinking about something illegal?
Okay, so this is a commercial for, and again, a bunch of you sent me this to cover it. It's a commercial for a company that makes you record your elder parent or grandparent who's about to bite it, and you record them for 3 minutes and get them talking, get them moving, get them saying something. And this AI thing makes a digital version, like this woman is talking to this commercial, an AI version of her mom who's deceased, and telling her updates about her kid. And then she goes onto her phone and freaking talks to this AI mom who's dead. And then the kid grows up later in the commercial. He's 10 years old, walking home from school. He's like, "Hey, grandma," talking to an AI. And this is a company that promotes this, or rather is pioneering it. And it says, take 3 minutes to change your life. Look, now we have translucent phones, I guess, in the near future. But look, he's talking to his grandma on his phone. And then he's a grown man having kids, and he shows his grandma who's 60 years, not that much, decades deceased. And he's yapping to her about his kid, but he's talking to an AI. And this is a company that's promoting this thing. I don't want to bore you with the whole commercial. It's freaking boring. I don't know where they even aired this thing, man. But a company is... So this is the idea. Lengthen your lifespan by merging with artificial intelligence. Or, see, look, and this is the part where they say, film your mom just for 3 minutes. Your grandma, your dad, your grandpa. And you can be connected to her for decades. Because they will put her into an AI and make her talk and discuss and act like herself. So what freaking company is this? Two-way. 3 minutes can last forever, see? And you can get it on the App Store. And guaranteed, just like TikTok and all these other fucking things, people are going to go nuts. Don't worry about this guy's neck. This is a guy reacting to the video of myself. I mean, it's just shocking, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
To me, that is truly disturbing. I get that you want your loved ones to be around for the rest of your life if possible, but that is not really your loved one. That's just something that looks like them and possibly sounds like them, which in its own way is kind of scary. There is no way that I could accept seeing my grandfather or my grandmother or even my mother in an app like this. It would definitely not make me feel like I'm talking to them. And the sad thing thing is there's going to be a lot of people that probably do go for this. And then the bad thing is the kids that grow up with it are going to find this to be the normal thing. And they're not going to be any wiser as to this being awkward or weird because it's just normal to them. Now, if my kids say, hey, let me take a video of you for 3 minutes so that I can have you for the rest of my life, I'm going to slap that phone out of their hand and say, no, 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 not today. That will never happen. I appreciate you wanting me to last forever, but I do not want to last forever in that way. Now, for the families that are fine with it, I understand. I do get it. I just personally do not agree with it.
This is the real reason they're pushing AI on all of us.
Another thing I can't help but think about when it comes to the ChatGPT thing is like when Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press, the people who were so mad about that were the people in power. Because the printing press was like the start of reading becoming more accessible to people. And the people in power were looking around them at all the peasants who were lifting up society. And they were like, well, we don't want them to start reading. Yeah, part of that had to do with them being like, well, they need to till the soil and all that. But also a big part of it was the fact that they didn't want peasants to start to think critically. And it may have taken them several hundred years, but those priests got you. Because every single time you forego an opportunity to learn something and gain critical knowledge, you're getting dumber. Somehow we've horseshoed our way back around to handing back the people in power the very thing that they have never, ever wanted us to have. They have figured out a way to make us stupid and get us to want that. Not to be conspiracy theorists, this is what they want you to do, but this is literally what they want you to do. Think about the people who are proponents of big AI. Are the majority of them good people? Seems like they're really benefiting from it and we're only getting stupider by the minute. That's what it seems like.
I do believe AI is used as a big distraction. To make you more dumb, yeah, it could probably do that as well. But that's not for everyone. There is people that are more conscious about what AI is and how to use it and not fall in the trap of it being AI slop. Do I appreciate AI slop? I wouldn't say I appreciate it, but I do enjoy it. Does it make me any less intelligent for utilizing it? Maybe, but it is allowing me to do things that are currently past my capabilities. I do think that AI is a tool that can be utilized to help bring you up, but I do think that the majority of people that utilize AI falls within the trap of keeping people down.
I thought this was cool. All the rocks. They all got little pedestals from the rain. So this is level. I'm holding the camera level. Every rock has its own little clay pedestal.
Wow.
Pretty neat.
Yep, raccoons are domesticating themselves and it's starting to get a little bit weird. Next time you see a raccoon in your yard, take a close look. They might not look like they should. Raccoons are experiencing domestication syndrome when they're in close contact with people. This is the term used to apply to the weird changes we see in animals that are domesticated. In dogs, we're really familiar with this. We'll see floppy ears, interesting coloring, curly tails, and they start to look very juvenile. They develop shorter snouts. This was previously studied in foxes. Yes, around 60 years ago, a Russian scientist decided to want to figure out if we could domesticate a fox to try to understand our relationship with dogs. Also, you can still get a domesticated fox, although they aren't exactly dogs. They're more like cats, and it's difficult to train them to use a litter box, but you can have one. Animals that were selected for traits that made them better with humans also ended up having a dog-like appearance. They retained juvenile characteristics, developed a rounder face. This was the first fox that showed floppy ears. They also bred foxes that were less comfortable with people, and they ended up getting longer legs and longer teeth. They ended up looking less juvenile, and these were traits associated with personality. In close contact with people, raccoons are selecting for domesticated traits. This could be that they're just more comfortable being around people, and if they run and scatter when there's people everywhere, they're not going to be very fit. It could also easily be that people feed them so gosh darn often, the ones that are better with people are just the ones that are capable of reproducing. This means that raccoons are getting shorter snouts, fatter faces, shorter legs, and you're more likely to see ones of unusual color if they're around people. There's a few reasons for that, not all of them good. One of them might just be genetic diversity issues. And while yeah, there are people that breed raccoons as pets, I really don't recommend it. They have the devil's mischief in them. Have you seen those paws? They can open cabinets. They can open doors. Would you have a pet raccoon? Let me know and follow for more.
I would not personally have a raccoon, but I do know people that have a few raccoons as pets. And they're actually really friendly creatures. And the raccoons that are around my neighborhood definitely eat well. Pretty much domesticated.
This is a follow-up in regards to the alien artifact that was found by a man named James. Now, he still has not posted an update. I don't know if he's okay. If you saw my last video, something happened during his live. And for those who are questioning why this video was uploaded, keep in mind he was on a live, so it auto uploaded. But as to James himself, he still has not posted an update. So we're praying he's okay. I was able to go through and find when he originally found the object, which was somewhere in the Nevada desert about a month ago. The claim is he saw it flying through the air, land. He went and retrieved it and heard like this buzzing sound coming from it. Since then, he's gotten rashes being exposed to it, feeling sick, feeling nauseous, and then receiving mysterious letters from people from an entity, corporation we don't know, to not share, show, or do anything with this and actually turn it into a specific area. Fast forward to today, if you saw the video I posted yesterday, he attempted to open the object with a drill and may have been electrocuted while on live. We're still monitoring the situation, waiting to see if there's any updates, as well as maybe pinpoint the location of where he may be. And it's somewhere in the Midwest, anywhere from South Dakota to like the Minnesota, Iowa area, based on the surroundings in some of his videos. But your guess is good as mine. We don't know what this object is. We don't know what happened to James, and we're just waiting.
Right here, you can hear it humming if I go close enough. Kind of makes me feel weird. But yeah, I think it's under here. Me.
Well, again, I do hope we get an update on this. It seems a little odd that he received a letter in the mail. I would think that these entities would probably approach him and just say, hey, let's not do this, hand over the item and no one gets hurt type of deal, instead of just sending a letter. That kind of leads me to believe that it's a hoax, but who knows? Only time will tell on this one.
When you fuck around with a 20 million year old frozen Antarctic lake, you're gonna find out. And these scientists sure did. You see, on top of Antarctica totally having pyramids, alien bases, and advanced ancient structures no one can explain, just a theory, may or may not be true, it also, as any other continent on Earth does, has lakes. Except we don't think much of them because, well, they're frozen and just kind of blend in with the rest of the frozen tundra down there. Well, Lake Vostok in Antarctica is one of those lakes, discovered by radar in 1974 by Russian scientists 4 kilometers beneath the surface, and was later officially confirmed in 1993. But subglacial lakes like these are interesting because they can act as a bit of a time capsule, preserving whatever's down there for millions of years, and sometimes might release something that nature intended to keep hidden, which is allegedly what happened when the scientists breached the ice lake several years later for the first time in 20 million years. The divers who went down are said to have encountered something that we've never seen before, a 10-meter long 14-tentacle squid that was unlike any other creature on Earth. The squid released a toxin which ended the lives of a few of the divers before they actually ended up capturing it and bringing it up to the surface. As expected, once this new creature was reported, it was seized by government officials who took it in for study, and the scientists were told to not talk about it. And when Russian officials tell you to not talk about something, you don't talk about it. Rumors have it they experimented heavily on this organism after they found out it was sentient, like an intelligent species living in our ocean. And everything was very hush-hush classified about it, so not much more was reported on it. This is the tale of Organism 46b, which many insist is just a rumor, a fictional story that's circulated the internet for many years. Which, to be fair, there isn't much info about this, and it could very well just be a creepypasta post that went viral. Organism 46b is quite the story. That is, until scientists officially discovered this in 2023. A massive squid-like creature with 20 arms discovered deep in the waters of Antarctica, eerily similar to what Organism 46b is said to have looked like. And this find is legit, totally real and verified. Look, even Earth posted about it, which sounds pretty official to me, called the Antarctic strawberry feather star, or this name, found as deep as 6,500 feet or 2 kilometers underwater. The truth is, there are a lot of creatures in our oceans that we just have no idea what they are. We really don't know what's down there. As a matter of fact, we've explored more of the surface of the moon than we have of our own ocean floor. And frozen lakes and glaciers that have been sealed off for millions of years can potentially preserve prehistoric organisms and creatures that aren't even supposed to be around anymore. Which kinda happened when a giant iceberg the size of Chicago, iceberg A84, broke off a glacier in Antarctica, revealing a thriving ecosystem underneath. Completely cut off from our world for hundreds of years, several entirely new, undocumented species were discovered, including huge sea sponges, corals, sea spiders, glowing worms, and a whole bunch of others. And this was from just one small section of the ocean. We can only imagine what sort of creatures are lurking in the deepest reaches. One very alarming trait researchers have observed in many of these newly discovered deep-sea creatures is they're big. Dare I say, massive. That's because the ocean is a buoyant medium, meaning the downward pull of gravity experienced on land is largely minimized underwater. As such, animals don't collapse under their own weight as they would on the surface. Couple that with millions of years of well-preserved evolution protected from surface-level catastrophes, and you get the most gigantic creatures on Earth, like the blue whale, topping the official list of the largest animals on Earth, which can be up to 30 meters long. But it turns out the blue whale might have some competition that completely dwarfs it in comparison. When an ultra-low frequency sound was recorded in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Chile in 1997, known as the bloop. This is what it sounded like. This sound was so insanely loud it was picked up by instruments all around the world. Scientists had no idea what could have possibly produced the sound and still can't explain it to this day. The only logical explanation they could think of was that it came from a large marine mammal. But judging by the deepness and pitch of the sound, this creature was much bigger than anything in existence. Assuming similar noise-making capabilities to a blue whale, the bloop would have to be made by an animal more than 76 meters in length. That's 2.5 times bigger than the biggest blue whale ever recorded, which is already just mind-bogglingly enormous, but somehow it's possible that something even bigger than that may have actually been detected in April 2024, where global radar maps captured an enormous, unexplainable underwater mass that appeared to once again come from Antarctica, with huge waves up to 25 meters high in a highly concentrated area of the ocean, seen moving upwards along the coast of Africa and continued to get bigger. And well, big is an understatement. This thing is colossal, the size of several countries combined. And again, researchers had no clue what this was, and it just disappeared into the depths again 2 days later. Of course, a Google search will probably tell you this was a glitch or a mistake in the radar system or something, so have at it. But the truth is, the vast majority of our oceans remain unexplored, and they take up around 70% of the entire world. Like, we barely even know what sort of creatures live in the largest ecosystem of our own planet. And we're constantly coming across crazy anomalies like these that tell us maybe Organism 46b wasn't as ridiculous a story as we once thought. Perhaps the melting glaciers of Antarctica are in fact releasing giant prehistoric sea squids and bloops and other ancient creatures once considered myths back into our present day ecosystem that we are not ready for. Kraken confirmed in 5 years. Let's make it happen.
I am a firm believer that there is things in the ocean that we have yet to discover that would absolutely blow our minds. Now, that does not mean that they're violent creatures, but very odd, very scary looking sea creatures. And when it comes to Antarctica, there is a theory that I do like to think about. What if there was an ancient civilization that froze that place to basically cork a massive hole in the ocean to keep whatever's under there contained? That's a pretty interesting theory to think about. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. Sorry there was not a Try Not to Laugh video this Saturday. That's probably going to be 2 weeks from now. I would like to collect more Try Not to Laugh content because what I currently have was less than 10 minutes worth of content. I would also like to add, if you ever want to send me something to react to, whether that be within the conspiracy realm, creepy realm, or Try Not to Laugh, please look into the description of this video because I have a Discord link that will take you to my own personal server that has certain channels for you to drop links into. So if there's something that you want me to react to, drop a link in that Discord server. Whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, send a link and I'll see what I can do. And I really appreciate the support. And with that being said, if today's your birthday, specifically you, Leon Kennedy, I remembered. Happy birthday. And if it's not your birthday, have a good day anyways.